services. Right. So it is a mobile medical company, not necessarily just let us say a regular office type of setting. No, what we do is we go to our patients are specifically, whether you're in the homes, in the office space, wherever you are, we go to your homes and we give you the best healthcare solutions possible.
I noticed on your website, you treat patients as well, or you assist patients with
visit or a home consult is one big additional thing to home visits. So if you don't think you would have been exposed to HIV, right, then there is, of course, with the rapid HIV testing. And the rapid HIV testing, even though being quite accurate,
stop eating the sweets, you're going to get diabetes, stop eating the sweets, you're going to get sugar, blah, 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 blah. My mom died of cancer, and it tore me apart. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Brian, and this is the Ivy Cancer Podcast. The death of my mom had inspired me to interview people with cancer or who have been affected to help spread awareness. The broader my subscribers are, the more people will be motivated to share their story. So if you come across this platform and you would like to help me achieve this goal, please hit the subscribe button. It will be greatly appreciated. A video will be uploaded every Wednesday. Thank you. Thanks for joining this podcast. Originally, I normally give my guests. We normally start the podcast with a word of prayer. I don't know if he's a man with prayer and him something there. So would I ask if you would take that hand in prayer and give us a word of prayer before we start?
That's fine, man. That's okay. Alright. So here we go. So, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for the capability to, find ourselves here on a podcast to deliver whatever important messages that I have to share. Pray, Lord, that you shall guide us and give us continued strength and wisdom. Pray, Lord, for you to be there with us in any endeavor that we pursue, oh God. Pray, Lord, for our families, our loved ones, and our dear friends, oh God. Grant us life, health, and strength. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Respect. Kirk, Doctor Kirk Jones.
Yes,
first, before we even go any further, I just want to big up Kerwin to make this possible. And really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to give us this interview.
Yeah, man.
So, well, I want to ask you, you operate a company, Comfy.
Yeah.
What is Comfy Home Doctors? What is that?
Well, it's Comfy Home Medical Services, right? So it's a mobile medical company, not necessarily just let us say a regular office type of setting. No, what we do is we go to our patients are specifically, whether you're in the homes, in the office space, wherever you are, we go to your homes and we give you the best healthcare solutions possible. Now, we are a comprehensive team, meaning that it's not just doctors, but we offer you nurses, physiotherapists, nutritionists, health coaches, all of those, including even ambulance services and, mobile blood testing as well. So it's a really comprehensive approach of us, bringing medicine to patients wherever they are and not just coming to a central location.
Okay. So basically, as you said, it's a mobile doctor, basically. All in one.
Yeah, technically that's what it is, right?
Okay. How could you assist like a patient that's struggling with a heart condition?
A heart condition, no. So just as if this patient was to go to a hospital, unless it is that, and I'm glad you bring up that case because there's a difference between a very thin line between home care and tertiary level care. Just as if there's primary care as opposed to tertiary care.
Okay.
Now, home care as an art in itself is a discipline that's not really focused on. But what I want to bring back to Jamaica and to also the Caribbean to a greater extent is the idea of doctors coming back to your homes. Now, somebody with a heart condition, firstly, needs to be monitored from all angles. It's not just to say a doctor come and see you. But if it is that you are saying you're having a heart attack, if you're somebody with history of a heart attack, if you're somebody with heart failure, whatever the case may be, it either may be an emergency or it can just be a regular checkup that may be needed.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So if it's an emergency, of course, we don't necessarily send doctors, but we send ambulances for emergencies. If it is not an emergency, then of course your doctor, just as if you were to go to office, or your doctor can go to your home, see you, check up to see what's happening with your heart, and at the same time we offer blood tests if needed, and then we also give even an ECG if you need to get one done. Right.
Okay. So would that be done on spot?
On spot, right there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Who come up with the idea for this mobile service, doctor service?
Me, I'm the founder of Comfymedical Services. I might tell you that actually started during COVID. It was actually myself along with one additional nurse and a lab tech person. They both were mobile, and the idea came up around people doing COVID testing. But at the same time, we realized that people who were tested positively, they didn't know what to do because when you get tested positive, they say stay home, don't go anywhere.
Right.
But no, I'm at home, and what do I do? You understand? So I said, okay, instead of us testing these people, let's see how we can assist them. And it turned out to be somewhat of a great response. People were okay, happy with the fact knowing that they have a doctor who they can, say, here what, I'm positive. I don't feel alone. I don't have to be worried. I can call someone and they come to me and help me out.
Okay.
And then after COVID, we recognized that the COVID scare kind of, was vanishing away. People weren't so scared of COVID again. So we realized that, hey, there's not just persons who have COVID that need this assistance. Persons who may have long-term illnesses, your pressure, your sugar, your cholesterol, your persons who would have had stroke, whatever you name it, whatever morbid illnesses that were there, we decided that we can assist them from home and we can lessen the burden on our hospitals in Jamaica. Because in Jamaica, our hospitals are laden with everybody, especially if it's a main hospital. So if we can take off some of that stress and try to make the healthcare system a bit more fluid, that was just always the intention, and that's how we came up with it.
I must commend you for that because my father passed on last year and he had a personal doctor visiting him, but obviously it was far away from, because I'm supposing that you treat within the Kingston and Portmore area. Am I correct?
Not just there. We are currently in St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, and also in St. Anne. So
Okay.
we are the essence of being mobile. We must be able to move.
Right.
So we're trying to open up our wings as far as we can.
Right.
Possibly feasibly to
Right.
get to people who might need our help.
Right. Because he was in St. Thomas at the time and he had a cardiac arrest.
Oh no.
He had bad diabetes. He was taking numbers of medication. Like he had a tray that, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, go straight back. So a service like that would do well in the St. Thomas area.
Right.
So you treat patients with thyroids.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, again, as I said, there's a thin line between primary care and specialist care and tertiary care. Now, we do have an ENT doctor on board. So if it is that a patient has a thyroid condition and needs further assistance, first and foremost, a GP can assist you if it is that you're already on medications and controlled. But if it is that you need further assistance, either an internal medicine specialist, which we also have, an ENT specialist can assist you going forward. So of course we do.
What is thyroids?
That's what is a thyroid. A thyroid is a gland in the neck.
Yeah.
It's a gland that's responsible for releasing what we call thyroid hormones.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, and these hormones, just like any other hormones in the body, is responsible for keeping things in balance or keeping things in check. You understand? Yeah.
I noticed on your website, you treat patients as well, or you assist patients with mental illnesses.
Of course.
How do you assist someone with some mental illness?
Right. So a part of home care, and this is just us being as comprehensive and just the comfy style of doing things. When we go to somebody's home, it's not just a regular visit as to how you go to a doctor's office. No, We also do a mental assessment. We also check to see if there's any mental or cognitive decline. And we also look at your occupational and your safety health as well, especially environmental health. What we're doing is we're saying to you that your home is very important in terms of you doing well as a patient. Right? So, in terms of mental assessment, we do have what we call a neuropsychologist on the team. A neuropsychologist is someone who helps you train the mind and giving you the necessary coping mechanisms to handle whatever it is that's happening with you. Now, at home, especially if you're one of the older set of patients and you have long-term illnesses, most time these patients eventually develop what we call some form of mental disorder, whether it's anxiety, depression, something along that line. It and also affects their compliance with treatment or even medications. Um, I even in COVID time, you had patients who, you know, when they were told to stay home, it significantly affected their mental stability.
Right.
So we have decided to make sure that if we're going to say that we're comprehensive, if we're going to say that we're going to be coming to your home and you don't have to leave home, then we have to bring all the whole artillery with us to make sure that you're going.
Okay. So let's say, for instance, because I've been watching the news in Jamaica a lot, and I've noticed that HIV is a big thing in Jamaica. Let's say I'm at home, I think I'm exposed, but I am afraid to go out in the public, the public hospital to do a test. Do you offer those
Yes,
service as well?
of course. So the thing is, we're also trying to remove the stigma of home visits being just for elderly patients or older people. Because the thing is, younger persons are the ones who would be more concerned about their sexual health. And the privacy, which is an added benefit of getting a home visit or a home consult, is one big additional thing to home visits. So if you think you would have been exposed to HIV, right, then there is, of course, with the rapid HIV testing. And the rapid HIV testing, even though being quite accurate, right, we also offer blood testing, the one that you go to the lab, which is a more, higher accuracy level, and it is normally offered if there's doubt from the rapid test. So if you're unsure, you're worried, we can do the HIV test for you. But regardless, you still may have to go to the lab. And as I said, you don't have to leave home. We can send a lab to come to you, get the blood testing done, and you get your results in good timing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure of it though. We can commence treatment as well. If it is that we call it prophylactic care, preventative care. You can get medications such as PrEP or PEP. All right, so these are things that the government is even pushing, primary care physicians to start patients on, because it's known to have a high efficiency rate in terms of preventing HIV. Right.
Okay. What is DM2?
DM2, diabetes mellitus type 2. Yeah.
So, how high is the diabetic rate in Jamaica at this present moment?
Very high. As a matter of fact, it's the leading chronic illness in Jamaica right now, diabetes. Not even hypertension is as high as diabetes on the list.
How can you advise people to reduce their risk of getting diabetes?
Well, I mean, you have to look at it from two ways. The first thing I want to mention is that there are some of us who are elders or family members along our bloodline may have certain illnesses, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, you name it. Truth of the matter is, us as offspring need to know where our family lineage is coming from. And by having that knowledge, because there is some familial component to it, would advise you, if it is that there is some familial component, you start doing your checks as early as your early 20s. So there's something called preventative care. And the truth is, the culture in Jamaica is not really inclined towards doing preventative care, which is screening. Screening means you don't know if you have anything, you're just doing random checks. Right? Jamaicans are not so open to that. It's not as if it's a first world country where everybody is, I should say, they're knowledgeable. They know what to know what the necessary things to be done. Everybody's health conscious. That's not necessarily the case here in Jamaica, just like that.
Yeah.
We have a culture where we wait until things go bad. We hop on it.
Right.
But here in Jamaica, what I'd say to our patients is try to be a little bit more optimistic or open towards doing a preventative approach to healthcare.
Right.
So if it is that most of us, and there's this high rate of diabetes, or high incidence of diabetes amongst us as a Jamaican population, then it therefore means that a lot of us, our family members, would have had it already.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're unsure as to whether mommy, daddy, grandma, granddad had it or auntie, sister have it, there's nothing wrong going ahead and start doing some screening anyways, right? However, if it is that you already have diabetes, then you need to first make sure that you see your doctor. You need to be on medications. You need to get proper nutrition planning. You need to get lifestyle planning, meaning reduction of your alcohol intake, reduction of your smoking, if not staying away from smoking. You need to start, making sure that you're exercising, making sure that your weight is optimized. All these things are things that you have to look on when you have developed any of the above chronic illnesses. More importantly, diabetes.
So, smoking and drinking alcohol can enhance your diabetes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it can worsen it. It can put you at risk for complications of it too.
Okay. So my father and my mother both had bad diabetes. So I am at a high risk of diabetes.
Yeah, of course. And what I'd say to you is, I advise you to start doing your screening, doing your yearly checks.
This is the first I'm going to say this on public, because I have a platform on TikTok, and this probably be the first I'm going to say this out loud. I was diagnosed with pre-diabetic just recently. But what caught my attention was, before my mom passed, we had in the UK they do regular checks on their patients, like every 6 months, etc. And my 6 months was due on January of last year, and I went and I done the test. When I went and done the test, I never got the results, because I heard I was going back and forth with my mom in her situation, and so I didn't get the result. However, when I came back, I went and do a test, and that result came out lower. The marker came out lower than the one before. However, at this present time, at that time, I was trying to change my lifestyle, change my diet, stop drinking too much juice. I never used to drink soda, but I used to drink juice a lot. There was no meal that I ate without any drink. But when my mom's situation caught my attention, I cut down off drinking a lot of sweets. However, that was the changes I made. I cut down off my starch. Instead of eating white rice, I started eating brown rice. And I used to incorporate green leafy vegetable in my diet. So when I got that result, the doctor asked me, what have I done different? I should continue doing it, because she realized that the number is much lower. So that tells me that lifestyle, diet have a lot to play in diabetes.
For sure, it does, definitely. And that's the number one. Remember, it's a lifestyle disorder too.
Yeah.
Because if you spend years insulting your body, and then you contract diabetes or any of these long-term illnesses, then one of the major curative is lifestyle changes.
Okay. So for those who are watching this video, what is hyperlipidemia?
Lipidemia. Oh,
yeah.
There's a hyperlipidemia. You have things in your body called lipids.
Lipids, right?
Lipids are just basically not necessarily fat, but these are molecules. It's basically an entire profile that checks up on your lipid levels, checks up on also your cholesterol levels. But there's a difference between regular lipids and also cholesterol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lipids are what are created by your body every day. And the problem is that they're extremely waxy substances, so they're very sticky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? The thing is, there's good types and there's bad types. The
Mm-hmm.
good types are the ones that are heavier to move,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't easily move around. The bad ones are the ones that move around all day long. The thing is, if they're waxy, they can stop somewhere, then they can clog certain arteries. So clogging arteries put you at risk for developing poor blood flow to certain areas, then you get what? Strokes.
Right.
You get heart attacks. You get what you call kidney failure, kidney ischemia, kidney damage. You develop poor blood flow to your feet. You get vascular diseases. And with hyperlipidemia, what I'd say to my patients is you want to have more of the good type of lipids and less of the bad types.
How do we
Right?
get more of the good types?
Well, firstly, it starts with dieting, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're going to eat means that are high in certain levels, fatty levels, such as what your beef and all this fried food and the fat based and the oil and so forth, and you're going to worsen it, of course. I understand. We also recommend doing exercises as well. The truth of the matter is, some of us have what we call familial issues. Same thing as genetic issues.
Mm-hmm.
And once it is genetic, then you have a higher risk of developing hyperlipidemia. Once you develop hyperlipidemia, though, however, and you're familial, we try to help you in terms of your lifestyle changes. But that alone may not be enough for somebody of that type of, I should say, that type of background. If it is that you are somebody who just eat away all your life, and you realize that one day you have hyperlipidemia, and we talk to you and show you that you need to change a few things with you, and you're trying, but it's not, moving exactly where you want to move it, then we can start your medications to help with it.
Is that the
Those
same?
treatment.
Is that the
Go
same thing
ahead.
as high cholesterol?
No, it's two different things. Cholesterol is different.
Cholesterol is different. What's the
Cholesterol
difference
is
between
different.
that and cholesterol? Because
Cholesterol is
it
different.
sounds to me like it's almost of the same symptoms and the same contribution
Yeah,
factor.
in a sense, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, cholesterol is different from triglycerides. Cholesterol and lipids fall under the same portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So lipid is the bigger umbrella, the bigger, I should say, umbrella. Then everything else falls underneath them.
Okay.
Right? So, but technically, you are right. It's same line of, I should say, same line of symptoms if you develop symptoms,
Yeah.
same possible problems if it's not controlled. Yeah.
I want to go back to diabetes. I want you to explain to us the difference, like with the glucose level and the triglyceride.
Well, or the triglycerides, right?
Yeah.
So with diabetes, right? If you have uncontrolled sugar, and this is how it normally works, especially in the Jamaican population or whoever, I'd say African American, right? It normally comes in a triad. Hypertension, diabetes, then there comes the high cholesterol issues or the cholesterol and lipid problems. Right? When you have diabetes and it's uncontrolled for a certain period of time, then you're always going to be at risk of developing hypertension. You're going to always be at risk of developing hypercholesterolemia or hyperlipidemia or hypertriglyceridemia, whatever it want to be. You're going to always be at risk of developing those other ones. Right? So what we say to our patients is the moment we diagnose it with any one of the three, we start already telling you, listen, you need to start being screened and checked yearly to make sure that, yes, from once these things are under control, we need to control these things first, but we need to make sure you're not developing any other of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a relationship between the above three, yeah.
So, oftentimes as I'm growing up, I've always heard about sweets. Stop eating the sweets, you're going to get diabetes. Stop eating the sweets, you're going to get sugar, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I've understand since my mom passed, I've been doing a lot of research and I've understand that sugar is not the only culprit in giving diabetes. What are some of the things that contribute to diabetes?
Yeah, so I talked about the familial aspect of things. I also talked about one, if it is that you're not born with an autoimmune disorder, which is that when you're born with diabetes, that's a different type.
Yeah.
But then we're talking about type 2 diabetes. We're also talking about not just sweets as we would think about it. Because when you say sweets, people start thinking about sodas and drinks and sweet, literal sweets, some start thinking about.
Yeah.
But what we don't know is that there are other means right? That when they break down into a large amount of basic sugar, which is glucose,
Right.
right? So if you're eating a bag of white bread, you understand? A lot of white rice, starchy based meals, heavy starchy based meals. You're eating meals that are high in fat content that when those break down, because fat can break down to a basic form of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Even milk can be broken down to a basic form of sugar, and your fruits too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about choosing foods that we call have a low glycemic index, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we say low glycemic index, it just talks about the amount of sugar that it breaks down into and over what certain period of time is reflected in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you're somebody that's continuously overburdening yourself with foods with high glycemic index for a long period of time, if you're somebody who's a chronic smoker, if you're somebody who is always abusing alcohol, you understand? If you're somebody that's obese, obesity is not a description. Obese is not an adjective, it is a diagnosis, a medical diagnosis. So you can be diagnosed as being obese, and there's different classes to it as well. So it's always important to maintain and optimize your weight, have someone help you to plan a proper diet for you, and also exercise while reducing poor habits such as smoking and alcohol abuse.
Okay. Recently I've come across something on the internet, whereas
Mhm.
um sitting down more in your office or people that move around less
Mhm.
also have a linkage to diabetes. Is that factual in your studies?
No, no, there's no direct correlation to sitting on flat around a desk all days of your life means you're going to develop diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they're saying that you're not active.
Right.
Right? Active, then it naturally you're not exercising. And if you're just eating all the days of your life, sitting down in one place, you're going to put on weight. You're
Right.
putting on weight, you're going to get obese. Really and truly, you have to look at the risk. How does it tie into the risk factors? So the risk factors are obesity, poor eating, and so forth. Ask yourself, how does sitting down in one place don't put you at risk for those things? You understand?
Do you think our eating habits contribute to our mental health?
Yes, of course. Um, yeah, people who eat away in life when it is that they're depressed. That's some people deal with depression. Some deal with anxiety by eating as well. Some don't eat any at all. Some starve themselves. You understand? Such as we have so like bulimia nervosa.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all mental disorders that are associated with eating habits.
Could that lead to Alzheimer's or dementia?
No, but hypertension and diabetes does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So it's good to basically eat a balanced diet then.
all the time. Very important.
Okay. Um so heart attack, there are certain signs that they
Mhm.
always said for us to look out for, you
Mhm.
know, and to identify if we are having a heart attack. What are some of these signs? Can you give us some example?
Yeah, so if you're having they describe it as a deep crushing chest pain to the left chest. Right, and what it does sometimes is it's oftentimes radiates along your shoulder, especially down to your hands. You can also have profuse sweating, vomiting, nausea. You know, those are the common symptoms that are associated with it. If you're having these symptoms, you can have shortness of breath, heart racing, all them kind of symptoms there. If you're having those things, you go to your doctor.
What about poor blood circulation? You know that twingy twingy feelings that you may normally feel, what they call it?
Neuropathy.
Yeah, what it does not
Mm-hmm.
link to heart attack in at all.
Not necessarily. I mean, numbness to your hands, possibly. But that most times patients that have neuropathy is secondary to uncontrolled diabetes. Most times. Yeah.
Okay. Um, what brings you to the medical field? What inspire you to be a doctor?
Mhm. Well, I mean, for me, medicine has always been a niche for me in terms of learning. I'm somebody who's just a lover of knowledge. I've always been open to wanting to learn more and wanting to evolve whatever it is that I'm doing. Medicine gives me that opportunity, and just to see how much I can utilize my knowledge and that knowledge to figure out new things, to learn new things, to better aid somebody else is the reason why I did medicine.
Okay. Um, Before we go, I just want to say thank you again for taking the time out
Not
to
a problem.
give us this insight. I have a traditional ending where
Right.
the person that comes on leave an encouraging word for the next person to come. And the encouraging word that was left for you is seek a friend when you need a friend, and that friend is Jesus. I ask you, if a patient want to reach out to Comfy or Medicals, how would they reach out to you?
Great. So you can call us at 876-776-4416. This is for general inquiries or any other problems that you may have. If you deem your issue to be an emergency, you can call our hotline at 775-4771 and we'll organize an ambulance for you. If you want to send us an email, you can do so at healthcarecomfy with a Y at gmail.com. Or visit our website at comfymedicalga.com. And we are on all social media handles at comfymedicalga, comfymedical, whether it want to be TikTok, what do you call it, Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, we're always at. We're on LinkedIn as well. So you can find us through any of those platforms as
well. Okay. I would love for you to send me those information, those link via my WhatsApp. Kirk, I thank you once again for the time, and I appreciate you contributing to the Ivy Cancer podcast.